The H100 gold rush is dead, and nobody wants to say it out loud. For the past 18 months, every major AI company on Earth turned into a GPU hoarder. Meta, Microsoft, Oracle, a dozen well-funded startups. They all sprinted to lock up every Nvidia H100 they could get their hands on. Some paid 3 times list price on secondary markets. Some signed contracts worth billions just to guarantee delivery slots. The operating theory was simple and loud. Compute is the new oil, and if you do not stockpile it now, you lose the AI race forever. That theory, in my analysis, was wrong, and the bill is coming due. The villain here is not Nvidia. Jensen Huang sold a product people were desperate to buy, and he did it brilliantly. The real villain is the herd mentality that infected AI leadership. The idea that raw compute access was a substitute for engineering strategy. Executives confused buying GPUs with building moats. They treated inference costs as fixed physics rather than an engineering problem to be solved. And now, the market is punishing that laziness. Here is the proof, and it is not subtle. Point 1. Inference efficiency has exploded. 12 months ago, running a 70 billion parameter model required a full node of H100s to hit acceptable latency. Today, quantization techniques, GPTQ, AWQ, and the latest round of weight-only INT4 methods have slashed memory footprints by 60 to 70% with negligible quality loss. Speculative decoding is doubling throughput on the same hardware. Distillation is producing smaller models that match the benchmarks of their bloated parents. The net effect is brutal for anyone who overprovisioned. You need dramatically fewer GPUs per query than you did when you signed that purchase order. The demand curve bent, and it bent fast. Point 2. Supply has caught up and then some. TSMC ramped Co-WoS packaging capacity hard through late 2024. Nvidia shipped H100s and then immediately started pushing H200s and Blackwell, which means the secondary market for H100s is flooded. AMD MI300X is finally a credible alternative for large-scale inference workloads. And Google and Amazon are both deploying custom TPUs and Trainium chips that pull demand away from Nvidia entirely. The scarcity premium that justified those insane purchase prices has evaporated. Cloud spot prices for H100 instances have dropped over 40% in some regions in the last 6 months alone. That is not a soft landing. That is a correction. Point 3. Utilization rates tell the real story. Reports from multiple cloud analytics firms suggest that average GPU cluster utilization across major providers hovers around 30 to 40%. That means the majority of hoarded compute is sitting idle most of the time, burning electricity and depreciating. These are not servers earning their keep. They are expensive trophies collecting dust in data centers. The companies that bought thousands of GPUs on the assumption of perpetual scarcity are now sitting on assets that lose value every single quarter as newer, faster, cheaper silicon arrives. If you have been following this channel, you already knew this trajectory was inevitable. If this is the first time someone is telling you the truth about where compute economics are headed, subscribe. We are saying the things the procurement teams do not want their CFOs to hear. Now, here is the strongest counterargument, and I want to be fair to it. Training runs are still massive. Frontier model pre-training, the kind that OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google DeepMind are running, genuinely requires tens of thousands of GPUs for months at a time. That demand is real, and it is growing. If you are one of 5 companies on Earth pushing the absolute boundary of model scale, hoarding made sense. I will grant that fully. But here is the dismantling. Those 5 companies are not the ones who overpaid. The overpayers were the mid-tier labs, the enterprise AI teams, and the cloud resellers who convinced themselves they needed frontier-scale compute for workloads that were always going to be inference-dominant. Training is a fixed, periodic cost. Inference is the ongoing business, and inference is exactly where efficiency gains have destroyed the scarcity thesis. The math does not care about your FOMO, so here is where we land. The compute crunch narrative served its purpose. It sold hardware, it inflated valuations, and it gave executives a convenient excuse to spend without thinking. But the crunch is unwinding. Prices are falling. Efficiency is rising. Alternative silicon is arriving. The companies that treated GPU hoarding as strategy are about to learn the difference between owning compute and knowing what to do with it. So tell me, did your company hoard H100s? Or did it invest in the engineers who could have made half the hardware do twice the work?